is out of respect, out of admiration, out of pain, but above all, out of sincere dedication. Not that they never saw the ballot or the bullet. They knew they were going to face it, but they gave their life for this nation. Those heroes must and will always remind us as a generation that a tree of and a seedling of revolution was planted by us, and this revolution has inspired across the continent and is wakening up any young men and women across the continent, that the young men and women can fight for their own right and fight for the future of their state. But equally to what happened in the Mau Mau, there are betrayers. There are traitors who have come out. There are people who have taken advantage of our honest struggle to pursue their inner agenda. They hired majority of young men and women. They took them, some of them in the streets, and they caused commotion and violence to what appeared to be non-violent. The government also became violent and fell in their trap. And now the military is back, almost the same as a state of emergency before, but now pushed by our government. What I always call a puppet neo-colonial government. Now, the president is calling us for a dialogue. That we sit down and have the religious leaders and other communities come together. My simple question is very clear from the start. The president took 3 years campaigning for his manifesto. He knew what he wanted to do. He promised people what he wanted to do. The youth under the Kenya Kwanza government even drafted a manifesto. Now, Mr. President, does it cost you a dialogue to remind you what you promised us? Does it cost you a dialogue to remind you what you promised us? We don't need dialogue. We don't want to spend aimlessly more resources from our pockets or our revenues, as you're used to with those of your friends who pretend to be on dialogue, but in reality they just want to take some tea and take our money at the expense of creating a problem like you have created a problem for us today. This revolution is your problem in making, and now you want to create another situation to aid and take money with your colleagues and your religious friends who are actually dealers in this process to earn money, the same way you've forgotten about the NADCO report when the politicians hijacked our revolution in 2023. Mr. President, we don't need a dialogue. We have clearly stated to you what we want. Our demands have been written, shared and circulated not only in this continent, but even out of this continent. What do you not understand in those demands that calls for a dialogue? After all, you said on a Sunday before you shoot us on Tuesday that you are ready for a dialogue, just only for you to meet us in a dialogue by the bullet. Now you are calling for a dialogue? Mr. President, we will not fall on this trap. We will not accept any dialogue with you. All we ask you is to fulfill what you have requested and you have circulated and articulated clearly. If you don't understand anything, let us know so that we can explain it for you. Look for your dictionary, look for the Constitution, review your manifesto. You can know what we want. You are hijacking us the same way the Lancaster House was hijacked to sit down and compromise on our independence. Today you are hijacking the younger people to compromise on their struggle, but on their blood. You've killed many innocent of us, abducted many of us, met us with the violence, many of us, but we will never forget. Please, Mr. President, fulfill the manifestos and the agendas and the memorandum we've put forth to you. With all due honesty, with all integrity, be a gentleman and be truthful enough to this nation. Do what we've asked. We are not ready for a dialogue. We will not go in your trap. And we know you've hired some people who will come to pretend to be representing us. We know. And we know that the fruits of our struggle might never be enjoyed by us who struggle or those who are fallen. But the ballot is coming. We will actually remind you and force you to get home via the ballot if you insist and find your ways to maneuver till 2027.